Most people think becoming a millionaire requires brilliance, a breakthrough idea, perfect timing, or a lucky lottery ticket. But history tells a stranger story, because the last time a huge wave of millionaires appeared, it wasn't driven by genius. It was driven by a system, a very specific financial moment where ordinary people, teachers, engineers, mechanics, office workers, suddenly found themselves holding assets worth $1 million or more. Not because they changed their lives, because the rules of the economy changed around them. And the uncomfortable part is this: the same ingredients that created that wave are quietly forming again. To understand this, we need to rewind a bit. Picture the late 1970s. The global economy looked messy. Inflation was raging. Interest rates were climbing. Energy crises had shaken confidence. In the United States, inflation peaked above 13%. Mortgage rates climbed above 15%. If you were living through it, the world didn't feel like a place where wealth was about to explode. It felt unstable. But beneath the surface, something very important was happening. Asset prices were about to begin one of the greatest upward runs in financial history. And the people who were positioned, often accidentally, ended up riding that wave for decades. Let's start with the simplest asset, a house. In 1980, the median home price in the United States was about $47,000. That number feels almost fictional today. But back then, that was normal. A typical middle-class household could buy a home with a mortgage that felt large but manageable. Then something unusual began. Interest rates slowly came down. From the brutal highs of the early 1980s, they started falling, year after year, decade after decade. This matters more than most people realize, because housing prices aren't determined only by the value of the house itself. They are determined by what monthly payment buyers can afford. Lower interest rates mean people can borrow more money for the same payment, which quietly pushes prices higher. So as rates declined throughout the 1980s, 1990s, and early 2000s, home prices climbed. Not dramatically at first, but steadily. And steadily can be extremely powerful over time. A house purchased for $80,000 in the mid-1980s might be worth $300,000 or $400,000 decades later. In expensive cities, far more. Suddenly, millions of ordinary homeowners found themselves sitting on assets worth several $100,000. Some crossed the $1 million mark without ever thinking about it. They didn't build a startup. They bought a house and waited. But housing wasn't the only engine. At the same time, another machine was quietly accelerating: the stock market. In 1982, the U.S. stock market began a historic bull run. The index known as the S&P 500, essentially a basket of the largest American companies, sat around 100. Over the following decades, it climbed, then climbed again, and again, through recessions, through crashes, through bubbles. By the early 2000s, it had multiplied several times over. By the 2020s, it had increased more than 30-fold from those early levels. This is where something subtle happened. Because owning stocks used to be relatively rare for ordinary wakers. Then retirement systems changed. Companies gradually replaced traditional pensions with something called the 401k. Instead of a guaranteed pension, workers were given tax-advantage accounts to invest in the stock market. At first, many people ignored them, but over time, participation exploded. Money started flowing into stock funds automatically with every paycheck, month after month, year after year. This created a powerful feedback loop. Millions of workers were now regularly buying stocks. The market rose, which made retirement accounts grow, which encouraged more participation, which pushed the market higher still. And slowly, without much drama, middle-class retirement accounts started crossing six figures, then 7. Now combine those two forces: home equity, stock market investments. A household that bought a house in the 1990s and consistently contributed to retirement accounts could reach a net worth of $1 million without ever feeling rich. This is an important point. Most millionaires created during this period didn't live like millionaires. They lived like normal middle-class families. The wealth was mostly on paper, locked in homes and retirement accounts. Quiet wealth, invisible wealth, but wealth nonetheless. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Many people look back at those decades and assume the outcome was inevitable. that if you simply worked hard and saved, you would end up wealthy. But that interpretation misses something critical. Those people were riding a very specific macroeconomic environment. Interest rates were falling. Globalization was expanding corporate profits. Technology was boosting productivity. Population growth was supporting housing demand. And perhaps most importantly, assets were relatively cheap at the beginning of the cycle. Stocks in the early 1980s were historically undervalued. Housing was affordable relative to income. Starting valuations matter a lot. When you buy assets cheaply, long-term returns tend to be stronger. But when you start from expensive levels, the math becomes more difficult. Now fast forward to today. The environment looks different on the surface, but some of the deeper mechanics are starting to rhyme again. Not identical, but familiar, because there's another force quietly reshaping the financial system. Liquidity. Specifically, the enormous amount of money created after the financial crisis of 2008 and again during the pandemic. Central banks lowered interest rates to near zero. They purchased trillions of dollars in government bonds. They injected liquidity into financial markets on a scale that would have seemed impossible decades ago. And money rarely sits still. It moves, often into assets. Stocks, real estate, private equity, cryptocurrencies. Anything perceived as scarce or valuable. And we've already seen the early effects. Housing prices surged in many countries during the early 2020s. Stock markets reached record highs. New asset classes exploded into public awareness. For a brief moment, even digital tokens with cartoon mascots were worth billions, which should probably tell you something about how powerful liquidity can be. But the real mechanism behind millionaire waves isn't hype. It's time. More specifically, compound growth interacting with long-time horizons. Imagine someone who begins investing at age 30. They contribute steadily for 30 years. They don't trade aggressively. They don't chase trends. They simply own assets that grow with the economy. If those assets grow at an average of 7 or 8% annually, historically a reasonable long-term estimate for equities, the math becomes surprisingly powerful. $10,000 invested annually at 8% for 30 years becomes roughly $1.2 million. Not magic, just compounding. And millions of households followed variations of this path during the late 20th century. But here's where the story becomes more complicated. Because the same forces that create waves of millionaires can also create waves of inequality. Asset inflation rewards people who already own assets. If you own stocks before a major bull market, you benefit enormously. If you own property before housing prices surge, you benefit enormously. But if you enter the system later, when prices are already high, the path becomes harder. The starting line shifts. This is one of the defining economic tensions of the modern era. Older generations often accumulated assets during periods of lower valuations. Younger generations are entering markets where those assets already cost far more, which changes the equation. It doesn't make wealth impossible, but it changes the probability distribution. The margin for error shrinks. Timing begins to matter more. And yet, despite all this complexity, history still shows something interesting. Large waves of wealth creation rarely feel obvious while they are happening. The people living through them usually feel uncertain. In the 1980s, inflation fears dominated headlines. In the 1990s, many people believed the stock market was dangerously overvalued. In the early 2000s, the dot-com crash wiped out trillions of dollars. And in 2008, the global financial system nearly collapsed. None of those moments felt like the calm center of a historic wealth boom. But zoom out across decades, and the upward trend becomes unmistakable, which raises a quiet but important question. If wealth waves are only visible in hindsight, how do you recognize one while you're inside it? Some people think the next wave will come from artificial intelligence. Others believe it will emerge from energy transitions. Some see digital assets reshaping financial infrastructure. Others believe traditional equities and real estate will continue their long ascent. The truth is, no one knows exactly where the next concentration of wealth will form. But history offers a few clues. Waves of millionaires tend to emerge when three conditions overlap. First, expanding access to assets. Second, long periods of economic growth or technological change. Third, time. Lots of time. When ordinary people are able to participate in growing systems for decades, Wealth can accumulate almost quietly, until suddenly it looks enormous. But there's one more piece of the story that rarely gets discussed. Millionaire statistics can be misleading, because $1 million doesn't mean what it used to. In 1980, $1 million represented extraordinary purchasing power. Today, in many large cities, it represents the value of a modest home. Inflation changes the psychological meaning of numbers. So when we talk about waves of millionaires, we're often talking about nominal wealth, asset values measured in current dollars. Real wealth, the kind that changes lifestyle permanently, may still be concentrated among a much smaller group. Which brings us back to the present moment. We're living through another period of massive technological change, another period of unusual monetary policy, another period where assets are behaving in ways that confuse even professional investors. Some people are quietly accumulating positions. Others are convinced the entire system is unstable. Both views have historical precedents. But if history is even partially consistent, one thing is very likely. The next generation of millionaires is already forming, not through a single lottery-like event, but through a slow interaction between markets, technology, policy, and time. The same way it happened before. Quietly, gradually, almost invisibly, until one day people look around and realize millions of ordinary households cross a line that once seemed unreachable. And by then, the wave will already be behind us. The real question isn't whether it will happen again. History suggests it probably will. The real question is simpler. When the next wave passes through the economy, who will already be standing in the water?